Welcome to today's lesson on ratio, which is lesson 1. And we've got to realise that ratio is a most important part of GCSE mathematics, and there's a few little tricks we've got to learn. On today's trick, we're going to simplify a ratio. Quick reminder of what ratio is. This is the cousin of fraction. So hopefully you can see what the fractions are here fairly easily, but the ratio's 3 to 1. And what ratio does is compares how many bits of one type we've got to how many bits of another. But the key question on both fraction and ratio questions is basically how big is one bit? And that's something we will keep coming back to today. First trick, we're going to simplify our ratio. And what we've got is the same as with fractions. We know that 4/8 is a half because we can divide the top and bottom of my 8 over 4 by 4. Similarly, I can then simplify 4 to 8 down to 1 to 2. Now, I said at the beginning, how big is one bit? And what we've got to work out is basically what have we got to do to one line of numbers to get down to the other line? And here we've got to do a divide. And so one bit is 5. This one, we've got to increase the numbers, and so we've got to do times. We have times by 4. So one bit is actually worth 4. Now, to help me, quite often what I like to do is to use boxes. And we have 2 lines of boxes, 1 line for each line of the ratio. And we're always given a ratio to fill in one line, and then we've got to find out what goes in the bottom line. And quite often it's useful to work out what the total number of bits is, because then working out one bit becomes a trivial exercise. And it's always worth remembering that if the ratio is 3 to 2, then the 3 bit represents 3/5 of what we've got, and the 2 is 2/5. Let's look at some typical questions now. Now, here we have the Airbus question, where we know how long the length is, and we're told the ratio of length to wingspan is 6 to 5. So we write down 6 to 5, and then we have a little look at the question and go to 54. Does that belong to the length or the wingspan? It belongs to the length, so it goes with the 6. So we put it underneath. Then we've just got to work out how do we turn 6 into 54. And technically, this is a divide, isn't it? So 54 divided by 6 is 9. And that's what we always do with a ratio. We always do a divide to work out what that is. And so how big is one bit? 9. So I've got 5 bits on the other side. Each bit's worth 9. 5 times 9, 45. Problem solved. This one's another typical one. In the last one, we were doing a multiply, where here we've got to do a divide. And we want to work out the ratio in the 1 to n. And this is a very common question. But when we've got the 1 to n questions, we've got to use the same units for the 2 numbers that we're trying to compare. And here we start off with different units. And this is a very common thing that you've got to make the units the same. And we know that 1 meter is 100 centimeters. So our 54 we turn into 5,400. Then turning 36 into 1 is dead easy. We divide by 36. So 1 bit is worth 36. So how many bits have we got on the other side? We do a divide by 36. So do you see what we're doing to one number, we have to do to the other numbers. And 5,400 divided by 36 is 150. So the answer is 1 to 150. Now, here's one for you to do. So please pause the video. Pause the video, stop the video, because the next slide we're going to show you the answer. So what I want you to do now is get pen and paper, or pencil even, and then have a go at doing it. Now I've drawn the boxes, and I like the box idea, and you might find the boxes are useful. Because once you draw the boxes, what your brain starts doing is thinking about what you're going to put in the boxes. And then it's starting to think about how we link the numbers. And then basically we remembered how to do the problem, haven't we? So the boxes are actually a memory aid, and therefore I would advise you to use them. So hopefully by now you've got your pen and paper, you pause the video, and as soon as you've done that, unpause the video, because in the next slide, we're going to show you what the answer is. So first question we've got to do here is work out what our ratio is. We know the total's 20. We know there's 12 girls, so we're going to have 8 boys. Then we want it in the form 1 to n. Now the 1 goes with the boys, so we put it underneath the 8. And to turn 8 into 1, we divide by 8. So what we do to one bit, we have to do to the other bit, don't we? And so we do 12 divided by 1.5 is 1.5. And so our answer is 1.5 to 1. I hope you got that right. And I also hope that you will then go and listen to the other videos in the sequence, and you'll be able to answer all the questions on ratio in your exams. Thank you for listening.